go after that. Go after that. And I also remember people extremely well. I want to help. Angel investing, mentorship, and the like. If you have a company that you want to get off the ground, that you're trying to help others raise ships, Mackenzie has my contact information. I get a ton of emails. You got to say, Haas, and if you, in this class, reference it in the subject line. But those are the kind of people I want to support, fulfilling. I want to mentor and help those guys that want to move the needle to make social impact. Not that I'm also belittling if you want to start a gaming company and whatever, that's cool too. But I think you get what I'm saying. So a lot of stuff there. I really appreciate, I hope some of it resonated, and now I'll just open it up to questions. Then I'm going to turn it over to Connie kind of for the last, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just so she can give a little bit of perspective of, I started my company in my garage in Cupertino. I wanted a Steve Jobs wannabe. And then when we grew, then we moved to the Plug and Play incubator, which was a great place for us as we were an earlier stage company. And now both of those companies, I have 2 companies that went through the Plug and Play, and now they're standing on their own 2 feet and have moved on. But she'll give a little bit more color on that. But before we do that, questions for me, comments, thoughts? Yes, sir. Remind me your name.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Where did you go in Kenya, and how was that experience?
So the area where it's one of the highest concentration of HIV positive patients in the world. It's Eldoret, Kenya. Have you been? Sorry. Have you been to Kenya?
I've been to Mombasa, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So yep, it's in the north west part of Kenya, not too far from Sudan, and it's about a population of 1.2 million, and most of the HIV positive people are women that have been raped, and they have numerous kids, and we have about a $60 million budget backed by USAID and PEPFAR and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And to see these women, literally, most of them literally mud huts that they're living in, walking an hour every day to get their antiretroviral treatments, and then with their kids. And I remember when I was there, this was a big shift, is when I was there, one of these women offered, she to have breakfast in her hut. Now, I was scared to death about getting sick, and that was my own issues. But the givingness and the love that I saw there when people have nothing, it was just beautiful. But that's where it's located. So, other questions, comments? Remind me your name.
Lam.
Yes.
When you had the idea of selling premium inventory, how did you go about finding a team to help you build that?
Great question. And the devils are in the details. So when I came up with the idea for Nor 1, so you remember I was trying to raise money for an airline, but then the investors said, just do the Nor 1 idea. Going back, I have a lot of relationships. So at that time, I knew one of the senior executives I'm blanking out on it because it no longer exists, but it's one of the largest consortiums of travel companies. They owned Orbitz, actually Century 21, Avis Rental Car, a ton of different travel companies. And so I knew the CIO there, and I went to him, and I pitched the idea to him, and I go, what do you think? Do you like this idea? And I never forget, when I told him, he goes, I love it. I want to invite you out to 9 West, to New York, and to our headquarters. And I'll never forget going up to the building. It was on the 50th floor, overlooking Central Park, and this giant boardroom, floor-to-ceiling glass, and I was just I had died. It was this is prime time. And I'm pitching to the senior leadership of the largest travel company in the world, and Cendant Corporation. And I have been traveling a ton, so my head is a little bit broken. And at the end, they were like, we love it. And I'll never forget when they gave me a standing ovation. But then at the same time, my heart sunk, this is the largest travel company in the world. Little me, I just told them my idea. Why do they need me? And I thought for sure they're going to steal my idea. And I remember one of the guys took me aside, and they go, you know what, Art, we've tried to take guy's ideas before, and he goes, then we delegate it to somebody in the company, and they don't have the passion and the love and the drive for it. And the devils are in the details, and to get a company from an idea to reality is not simple. So what they did instead is they go, all right, let me introduce you to the CEO of Orbitz, let me introduce you to the CEO of Trust. That's one of their reservation companies. So then Trust handles hotel reservations for like 4 Seasons, a lot of different hotel groups. I went over to Germany, met with the CEO of that company, and I said, can I just camp out here and kind of learn the business from the bottom up and not get paid? And he's like, sure. So that's what I did. I moved to Frankfurt, Germany, which was an amazing, awesome experience. He then introduced me to Movenpick. Anyone know the Swiss hotel group, Movenpick? They're big in Europe, in the Middle East. But anyhow, it's a Swiss hotel group. They introduced me to the head of, the chief marketing officer of Movenpick. Pitched the idea to him. He loved it, and I go, hey, can I just hang out at your hotels and kind of learn the business from the bottom up? And so I lived in Geneva, Switzerland, and worked at their hotel. So I worked at the front desk, revenue management, loyalty, housekeeping. Didn't get paid, got free food, got a free hotel room. It was one of the best times of my life. Hanging out in Geneva, I'm all about work hard, play hard, so great mix. Then I did that in Berlin, same thing. I was at the Berlin Movenpick property. Learned a ton from that, and so and then I built a network of people. So then, I became really good friends with the hotel people, and everybody wants what they don't have. So I was the Silicon Valley kid from California, and they were like, oh, I want to be part of Art's thing. That's going to be the next Apple and the next Microsoft, and so I got people jacked up on the idea, and then they were helping me. They volunteered their time, and I learned a lot from them. And then I got a small engineering company in Germany. I said, because I'm not a programmer, I'm actually not really good with technology, even to this day. What my greatest strength is people. I know what I know. I also know what I don't know. I surround myself with infinitely smarter people than I am. I'm good at connecting people and getting people jacked up. And so, so I went to different small engineering companies going, hey, will you build a pilot system for us for equity? And so I found this little company in Wiesbaden in Germany that built the pilot for us. And on top of it, he let me stay at his mother's house up in the upstairs. So, it was cool. It was there'll be a book or a movie. All my friends like, you gotta put this in a movie or something. Because I got a lot of crazy too, with the whole Russian thing too. So whatever your needs are, I can talk about significant others, crazy, just you name it. Perfect. Good question. Yes, sir.
Did you have any, Augustine?
Yes, Augustine.
Did you have any education, like university education in business? How do you feel about education in business?
So I did have education, but so I'm a big proponent of education. Education can't hurt you. I would advocate the more you can find a mentor. I can't emphasize enough. Like right now, if you really want to start a company, find an art that you'll carry their briefcase and just shadow them, and just listen. Here, so much of this, it's like dating. I'm gonna get in a lawsuit someday because I make a lot of analogies to dating, and it's because it's a dance. It's people do business with people, and how you communicate in business and how you get deals done. You can only learn so much kind of in a classroom. I'm a big champion of classroom, but it's a big difference between driving your car and learning how to drive your car in a book. And to be around a business person and it doesn't matter. You go like hang out around with a guy that runs a McDonald's or a laundromat, anything. Like to be exposed, maybe some of you guys your parents have a business. I can't emphasize that enough. So I'd say it's symbiotic. You want to do both. Also, it's interesting, I don't know if you guys read the biography about Steve Jobs, but I'm a big proponent of it. I used to do this a lot more when I was younger, I would just look at schools, like at Santa Clara, at Stanford, and look at classes that were interesting to me. I wouldn't go to school, but I just go to those classes to just learn. I just sit into the classes as I was building my business. That's how I kind of work, is like, as I build things, I call it building the bridge and driving over it at the same time. As I was doing something, all of a sudden, there was some tax issue. Well, I'm clueless on tax issues. So then I'd start stalking people that have knowledge in tax, and then I'd start looking up classes on tax courses, and then I try to learn as much as I can. And there's something about people feel when you're authentic. People feel when it's coming from the heart. People feel like, when they met me, they knew that I'm all about this. This is not bullshit. I wanna build this company. I'm gonna build it, one way or another. And I need your help. I really value your opinion and your advice. And so people really, it's amazing how many people, though I'm one person right here today, there's so many people that are behind me that are part of the evolution of my entrepreneurial being. And it was some of the core things, it's honesty, it's transparency, a hard work ethic. I can't emphasize these things enough. You can make a quick buck somewhere, you can pull the wool over somebody's eyes once, maybe twice, but the long haul, you gotta be the real deal. And it's being honest and working hard. And so, this was a lot more than what you had asked, but I think it's synergistic, but there's a point in time, you gotta get in the cockpit of the plane and fly the plane into the ground, into the mountain a couple times. And if you're not crashing, you're not pushing yourself enough, you're not growing enough. You gotta pick yourself up when everything, like I've had my business, this is overall my kind of the financial, it's been like this. Overall, the trajectory's been up, but it's been some, I've hit the wall at times and it looks like game over. And you pick yourself up and you keep moving forward. 2 more questions, then I turn it over to Connie. Yeah, remind me your name?
Allie?
Allie, good.
Yeah, so in the end you talked about social entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Would you say that a nonprofit would be the best avenue to achieve that, or do you think there's a way to do so through like a profit maximizing business like your travel agency?
I personally think each and every one of us should be volunteering. You should be doing some service, whatever that may be in the community. I know each and every of us are really busy, but even like once a month, an hour. So I think it helps give perspective, whatever, with your daily challenges and stress. I think a big problem with all of us is we get caught up in our daily, and we get so whacked out and stressed. But at the same time, we have luxury problems. All you have to do, go volunteer at some of these places, and you're like, puts things in perspective. So going back to your question, if you're interested in social entrepreneurship, I would spend some time in a nonprofit. It's also interesting, what I'm finding a lot of these nonprofits have a problem is they don't have a lot of professional managers, and there's a big shift kind of right now. It's becoming quite common. I know Jeff Skoll, Participant Media, he was eBay, but then he's built an amazing social impact, social entrepreneurship foundation, and it's a lot of guys that have built for-profit businesses because I've learned a lot from my board, like Goldman Sachs, about being a professional manager, and then bringing those skills to these nonprofits, because it's a pretty rigorous, board meetings, they expect results, and so there's a rigor and a discipline that comes from that. So I'm a big believer in the private sector and the public sector. The solutions are going hand in hand. It's not like one versus the other. It's a symbiotic. So I do both. So you work in a for-profit business, but also spend some time in a nonprofit, and then really start thinking about the things you're passionate about and what resonates with you, and then how to blend those two together. Does that answer it? Yeah. Perfect. Good question. One last question.
Sure. Ryan.
Brian.
Ryan.
Ryan or Brian?
Ryan.
Good. I like that name.
So, when you were in college, what were some, looking back at it, what are the best decisions you made in terms of you're happy that you spent your time on X, Y, Z because of where you are today?
So I didn't like my classes. I didn't like the professors. I came from Purdue's a really heavy research school, and so going back, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So a lot of times I didn't understand. When I got into higher thermodynamics and a lot of the mass heat transfer, those classes, I'm one of these people that need to touch and feel and see how things apply. So that didn't resonate with me. What did resonate with me is I was on Engineering Student Council, and we put on the big job fairs, and I loved working with the different companies that we brought to campus for the career fairs. And that networking, unbelievable. I learned a lot from building that network with a lot of relationships with a lot of the big companies throughout the world that came on campus. The other thing, and this is interesting, is so one of my buddies that I was going through college with, his father was actually the president of Purdue University, and so I became friends with the president of Purdue. And when I was at Purdue, I didn't really understand the role of a president, to be honest. but basically they're the Uber fundraisers. You know, they're the ones that are constantly going to alumni raising money. Well, is this being recorded? It is. All right, so I don't know if I'm so proud of it.
our private YouTube account thing.
But I don't want, like, but anyhow, but it's part of the story, the reality of the story. It's since I didn't do so well in classes, I had a lot of smart friends. And so I created a super filing system with all the tests and labs. And everyone would give me their tests. And so I made a major database of all these things. And so, so that helped me get through Purdue. But also, there was a lot of times I was getting in trouble, at the same time I was being respected, because like teachers and the faculty and people are like, you're a nut job, but you've got a ton of files, and everyone gives you all this stuff, and you have a better database than the campus. So I share that with you, and then I gained respect from a lot of people from my creative, out-of-the-box thinking. And there's a fine line there, if you hear what I'm saying, that you could, you know, you can also get kicked out of school for that. But then later on, after I graduated from Purdue, and I started my own company, you know, I circled back when I later kind of figured out, oh, this is what the president does. So then I went back to him and I go, you know, hey, I've got some ideas, you know, Dr. Buehring. And he's like, let me introduce you to some Purdue alumni. And so he introduced you to this gentleman, his name is Bob Kirk. He was one of the former CEOs of Allied Signal. And I bring him up, he was one of my board members, one of my angel investors, and he's having real health problems, he's in Tele right now. But he introduced me to Neil Armstrong. Purdue's one of the biggest universities to graduate astronauts. And he facilitated a dinner between myself and Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. And you know, so those relationships, the mentors, the relationships, the network, a lot of the Purdue, and that's where I'm on the board at Purdue. I'm a huge champion of Purdue, and it's because of the relationships. Purdue grads that I was introduced to after I graduated, they've opened a lot of doors for me and have been amazing. So I would just say network, 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 network. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
You guys have been great. I thank you. I hope this was valuable to you. I'm going to turn you over to Connie. I know we're running a little bit over, but I think it's worth you guys just a couple minutes with Connie.
Yeah, no, it should be fine. There might be a class in here after, but just you talk for a few
Okay,
minutes.
great. Well, so Art gave you the whole entrepreneur journey, and are you guys familiar with Plug and Play at all, the accelerator? Okay, so are you familiar with the concept of an accelerator? Okay, so Plug and Play Tech Center is an accelerator located in Sunnyvale. And why that's important is we've created an ecosystem for entrepreneurs. So I have more of the tangible, like take-home tools, like Art told you a little bit about the philosophy and the drive. What I thought was interesting about all of you is that you're all pretty local. Like I didn't hear anybody from like, maybe it's the furthest is Chicago. There are really, the entrepreneurs, it's kind of where we live and where we sit in the world that drives this kind of innovation. So, so what I've done is, so Plug and Play opened 10 years ago. And basically, we created an ecosystem. And what that means is that young entrepreneurs like yourselves may have an idea, but they don't have a place like other than working in your garage, where they can meet people and people that could potentially be investors, angel investors. We provide the mentorship, which is a big piece of the puzzle. And also the events and the networking. So sort of the takeaways are, so we have 350 startups at Plug and Play at any time. So remember, a startup could be 2 people, an idea, a dog, and basically that. So I've seen those pitches all the way to pitches of companies that have been there. One company that graduated was Lending Club. Are you familiar with Lending Club? It's peer-to-peer lending. They came with 2 people. They had an idea, and it was the most successful IPO of 2014, right behind Alibaba. So how did that happen? It happens because when somebody has an idea, they need to have funding, right? And once you have funding, then you need people. So we help the entrepreneur with all those things, especially when you're young, you don't have those relationships. And like Art said, you really need those relationships. And so if I had some advice for all of you, first of all, entrepreneurs are different people. You guys are the risk takers and the dreamers. I'm not like that at all. I just work there. Like, so I'm an RN who had like the traditional job, and then I got into the insurance industry, and then took some time off to raise kids, and then really got back to entrepreneurship just by virtue of sort of my relationships in Valley. So, so that's why it's cool. Like, what you could do is you can come to a place like a Plug and Play, and you have the infrastructure there. So my advice is, if you have an idea, network. Go to meetups. Start your own meetups in areas that you're interested in. So if it's in the travel and hospitality space, go to network events that are in the travel and hospitality space. If you're in healthcare, go to those meetups. Look to your professors as your mentors. So I know a lot of you are like, okay, your question about technology. What I see a lot is I see some, well, I'll backtrack a little bit. The entrepreneurs that are solving a problem, like Art said, he had a problem, like he said, oh, this is an opportunity. Sometimes if you just dream about something like, this would be a really cool app, well, it's really just an app at the end of the day. You're not gonna build a multi-billion-dollar business off an app. Well, maybe your Snapchat, I don't know. But anyway, so, but if you're trying to solve a problem, I find that those entrepreneurs are more successful because they've been on the inside and they saw something that wasn't working, and they created a solution. So when you're creating solutions, I think that you have a better chance of making it. So maybe like my advice or mentorship to you would be, go out there, figure out what you want to do, like what's interesting to you. Maybe get a traditional job, but figure out what's working, or maybe something that you can make better, where you can improve something that's already existing, or if you really think that you have an opportunity to, and if you have something right now that isn't working, that you can identify just by, because you're young yet, and maybe you haven't seen all the issues out there. But just go out there and, like I said, the entrepreneurs that are trying to solve problems, I think, have greater success. The other thing is, a lot of times you have a technology answer, but you don't have the business answer, and vice versa. So a lot of people in business have this great idea, but there's no way they can code it or program it or know how to reach it. So you have to really team up with people that you are complementary to each other on some level. So I see those teams be very successful as well. Again, so first of all, I would say, go out there, use your accelerators, use your Y Combinators. Have you heard of Y Combinator? Go to your business plan pitching competitions. Use your professors. Look for mentors, people in the industry that you're interested in to help guide you. And then you could always use a facility like Plug and Play. I mean, I'm not just pitching Plug and Play, I'm just talking about entrepreneurship in general.
Sorry, can you just give us like one more minute? We'll be out in a minute.
So anyway, I made some notes to myself. Just by virtue of where you sit in the world, you have exposure to a lot of angel investing. So you have a lot of people that have money that may not, that have the opportunity, that would like to invest in your idea. But I always say, go after smart money, people that can help you as well. Not just give you a check for $100,000, but can give you introductions to people that can help you along the way. So, so there's, the angel investing and so on. I mean, I could talk more about it, stuff. I know this is super high level, but my email address is Connie@Plug and Play Tech Center. If you guys even want to come down, I'd be happy to give you a tour and show you what it's like there, the ecosystem. As entrepreneurs, like I said, you're the dreamers. Every entrepreneur that has had some exit, typically I see them and they take some time off if they've got an acquisition, and honestly, within 3 years, they're back at Plug and Play with another idea, because you just have that spirit, so you can't keep these people down. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, again, high level, but thank you.
Thank you so much. If you didn't sign in, can you